So I've been playing Firefighter FD18. It's 1991. I have yet to be born, and a movie everyone remembers called Backdraft is released into theaters. Skip ahead to 2004, where I was definitely born, and everyone also still remembers this classic film that everyone clearly remembers, including the people at Konami, who then shamelessly rip it off. You play as Dean McGregor, a firefighter who's here to rescue everyone.
We're doing our job, just same as you. We play an important role.
Don't say casualty. I'm here to rescue every single person who needs help.
Yeah. Which he does, depending on whether or not you make him. You got your map with MGS vision cones and wee green blips indicating life, and a bar giving the exact amount of it. And you save those blips, naturally, by just kinda nudging into them, soaking them into your essence. However, oh no, there is Fui in the way, requiring you to hold down circle to discharge your fluid and aim with the walk stick only inverted. To make things worse, there'll also be different types of fire that you can't extinguish and need to rush through, or fire that shoots fire to make more fire. And there's also some other obstacles as well, like box blockades that one needs to axe, doors that might require a key, electricity that you can't spray because water just be like that sometimes, and oil spills you slip out and trip up and fall over. It's mostly an arcade game, I guess. You get timed, scored, rated, and given various difficulty modes and control schemes that allow for more dynamic approaches, like being able to spray and walk in tandem, and it's also structured like one in that levels, with screen in between where you can save, cutscene, more level. Now, while all of this might seem like it'll give way to a very simple, repetitive little game, it actually manages to spice itself up quite well through clever use of set pieces, mini resi-level structures, and all of the trials and tribulations that come with fire. I was expecting some loud, bombastic music, arcadey, wacky sensibilities, and epic destruction, but what I wasn't expecting was this. Smoke can get really dense, you see, and where I figured that this would play a factor in some capacity, I didn't think that it would channel the spirit of Silent Hill itself. I also wasn't expecting there to be possessed flame demon cars. What can you do? Fire will spread, ceilings will crumble, smoke will choke and cloud views, cars will topple and explode, and fire tends to hurt quite a lot. So, both you and all of the rescuees are slowly dying, thus turning the life bars into overlapping time limits that one needs to manage and monitor lest he be met with a slow, agonizing death. Levels tend to be quite short overall as well, and there's always multiple ways to go about shit, and minor bits of backtracking made interesting due to how the fire disfigures the landscape in real time. You'll find yourself having to quickly choose between dashing through the fire to save a life at the potential cost of your own, or to consider going the longer way around to find that key to open that door, or to get into a room by creeping through a smoggy vent instead. It's pretty speedrunnable, honestly. I mean, you die fast because fire bad, so you'll pick up on that whether you really wanted to or not. Plus, death often results from picking the less than optimal route anyway, though in that it is legit quite hard to orient yourself, seeing as your surroundings are ever evolving after all. The map does help, which is why it's there in the first place, but it is still impossible to deny the jack. You see, FD uses flickery film filters that don't look great, its frame rate is far less than stable, the camera will often refuse to move, with the game often putting you facing the opposite direction of where you need to go after saving someone, thus forcing you to run blindly backwards for a few seconds. And there's also some one-hit kill bullshit design going on as well, like backdrafts.
It's a backdraft!
You'll be doing great, on time, saving everyone, but I'll just be on half health because you're a confident little bitch like that. Only to then open up a random door and You can avoid these with a well-timed X button, mind you, but the game doesn't ever explain that or highlight it QTE style anywhere either. It's only telegraphed by way of smoky door, but with so much going on already and you always also being in a hurry, it can be real easy to get a fistful of backdraft shoved up your backdraft. Honestly, what really would have helped this game along a lot is a simple quick turn. The camera, the losing of bearings, and shit happening off-screen all around you would have been far easier to deal with had you just been able to nip around real quick. Though none of this really hinders the game too much, I suppose. It is fast and frantic, and so the levels, as said before, will be short. So even if a death feels unfair, you can get back to where you were within seconds. After that, the various unlockable spray modes and chargeable water guns and even a Dark Souls dodge roll, and you end up with a Fade to Black, more in next segment. The boss fights are both the most exciting bits and the suckiest, as they tend to require pretty quick reflexes, which ain't great considering that you only have these stiff fire child controls to work with. Quite often, they'll spread flames as well, or have wee fiery sidekicks like windy shirts and possessed office chairs that you'll need to keep taking out. Plus, because fire and spray, both you and your enemy will effectively be dealing in chip damage for the entire fight. And unless you're a big fan of Destiny, I don't think that you'd disagree with me saying that shit ain't exactly the most satisfying thing. However, even despite all of that, just the sheer novelty of fighting fire tornadoes, demon cars, and Satan chandeliers while overcoming the stiff jank and the endless chip as the entire boss arena crumbles under the weight of its own frame rate is pretty fucking intense, mainly also because they can be quite tough. As stated, dying ain't too much of a penalty, but it will happen, cause once you're in flames, you're basically already written off unless you can get out fast. After that, the stinginess of the health items and the slow auto regen, and you end up with some challenging, awkward, but intense spectacles that are as dumb as they are fun. Which is what I'll say for the main game too. Like, yeah, while it is goofy, there is almost something inherently satisfying about extinguishing fires and clearing rooms to timers. It's that weird mundane satisfaction that you might get from breaking blocks in Mr. Driller, or from spick and spanning rooms in Viscera Cleanup Detail. Just now combined with the excitement and urgency of the modern-day set-piece bombast simulators. Not to mention the moments where the fires will get way out of hand, making it so that you can only take baby steps as you carefully clear a path while being well aware of the person suffocating only a few doors down. Quite a lot happens as well. The core premise is, again, very simple, but not a single level will end up feeling the same. On one hand, you'll be clearing a tightly hallwayed office building, chopping down walls and doors to break through, and on the other, you'll be backtracking for keycards, hastily scouring about to open a door to someone's life. And before you know it, you're crawling through spooky vents, dodging girders, and fighting evil Doom Roombas. On the other hand, though, it is still just a game where all you do is extinguish flames in various forms. There isn't any actual downtime outside of cutscenes, and so, while it isn't exactly a repetitive game, it can be a rather unrelenting game. Constant fire spread, constant bombast, constant explosions, constant timers, constant screams. Hell, even the levels that'll have full-on gimmicks like the one with the gas leak that make you sneak as to not spark carpet embers to make fire will still primarily consist out of blasting flames to the exact same fucking song.
Hey! Get me the hell out of here!
But just the fucking tone of this motherfucker though. There'll be this Metal Gear-ass music all like... But then Dean comes out being all...
I rushed to the scene to extinguish the fire. But maybe what I'm really trying to do is extinguish the memory.
Like, wow man, that's so deep. Firefighter FD18 is, if you haven't already noticed, all kinds of PS2, which is pretty jarring considering that the presentation is straight up Hollywood. The camera work is mostly solid, the lighting and smoke effects are used to great effect, the color palette and general set dressing and clothing styles are also exactly what those late 90s, early 2000s drama action movies would utilize. Everything clicks, pretty much, until people start talking.
So, how are you feeling? You were acting a little strange.
How do you think I feel? People died here. And you don't seem to understand that it could have easily been you. When you're at the scene of a fire, you're always face to face with death. It's part of the job.
Therefore, it funny, because juxtaposition. Explaining humor like that always makes it better, trust me. But yeah, the story is great. There's like this news lady you see who reports on all the fires, and all McNugget does is tell her off. Like, literally every interaction between these two is her being all, "You're a hero!" and him being all, "Be gone, thought!" And yet, none of that stops her from falling in love. With Dean still clearly not giving a shit.
Did you decide to be a firefighter? I mean, why would you put yourself in that kind of danger?
Am I being interviewed?
It's so fucking entertaining to just watch this train wreck unfold, especially because her reporting pisses off the villain who starts fires because evil, and the dude's like this weedy Hollywood hacker in this dimly lit nerd room with rows of monitors and scatterbrained evil post-it notes, only...
For you, that hardware is a double-edged sword. Ow! I'll make you pay for this.
Japan happens to him, and he's also mad now because Dean keeps putting out his fires, making him the focus of his anger. You can tell because he shoots his TV.
How'd they find out about the hardware? Damn it! I'll kill every last one of you!
And so the music goes all shaving Ryan's privates on you, as the Dark Dean's dark past gets revealed about his foot fetish and the fire that tore his life apart. It is the deepest potato. Sadly, while the cutscenes are little works of art, there ain't nearly enough of them to go around. You can easily have entire 1-hour blocks of gameplay without any story happening. Just you rescuing the same featureless people who will then say the same generic lines over and over, which is a bit of a shame, as with the gameplay being as fun and hectic as it is, it, having had more of a dumbass plot, could have easily put it on Disaster Report God tier. But alas, it misses that by a fair margin. Though, the game over text does look like one of those word art GIF memes that I would use, so it still has its moments, that's for sure. Not quite gonna hit the hidden gem alarm on it, but the story is hilarious, and the gameplay, while jank, is neat. Besides, it has loads of historic novelty, being that it's part of that weird period in time where companies like Konami and Capcom started making rather high-budget, experimental games with seemingly no particular audience in mind. Like Cappy's Shadow of Rome, Namco's Urban Reign, Konami's Shadow of Destiny, and whatever the fuck Swery was going for with Spy Fiction. These games serve as somewhat of a precursor to what would happen a gen later when said companies started outsourcing to Western devs in the hopes of cynically pandering to Burgertown, USA, what with shit like Bionic Boy and Zombie Mall Photo Fuck. Though, unlike those, the motivations here feel far less cynical. Like, yeah, sure, they wanted this to sell in America, but you can also sense a genuine passion for the Hollywood blockbusters that the devs likely idolized. The Metal Gears, disaster day of crises and deadly premonitions, as it were. Born out of a creative spark, invigorated with, yo, our engines are so hench right now, we could totally be like the Spielstein of gaming. But then, of course, they fail because their acting sounds like, and the writing be like,
no obituaries for firemen. Damn. That hero is still alive to get in my way. What the hell is this?
But they tried, goddammit, so don't you dare make fun of them. Or, you know, not to their faces at least, but yeah.